Hello and welcome to the Bellringer introduction for shape. Let's talk about what shape is before we get into our first activity for today. Shape is an area that only has height and width. So that means it's the difference of a square compared to a cube because we've got height and width, but it doesn't go back into space like a cube would. Now, these are some examples of shape in artwork. You might recognize some of these names. This is by Henri Matisse. It's called Icarus. He was a cut paper artist, and you can see that he used just shapes, no shading, no value fill in. It's just the outline and it's got height and width. This is an example by Pablo Picasso, probably recognize that name. It's called Weeping Woman, and it's using just these basic shapes. He broke down this face into the most basic shapes and used those to convey the emotion that that person is feeling. Last, we have Piet Mondrian, and he does a composition with large red plane. You might recognize this. It's a very recognizable piece, and he uses just shape, and the precision and craftsmanship that he demonstrates is part of why this is so well known and successful. Now, for our activity today, our instructions say to redraw the shapes in the correct section. So we've got two sections. These are the shapes that we are sorting. We have two sections. Let's talk about them. Our first is geometric. That means it's precise or regular, probably shapes that you know a name for. Next, we have organic. So it's more the type of shapes you might see in nature. They're more natural and irregular. One thing that you can check with these shapes to see whether they are geometric or organic is to divide these in half. And if it's the exact same on both sides, then that means it's geometric. If it's different on either side when you divide it in half, then that means it's organic. Now, you are going to take a moment, and I would like for you to individually go through and draw in these sections the shapes that you are adding. So we would draw over here, and we're going to go through, and I'm not going to tell you which ones are which. I'm going to let you have some time to go through and decide which section you think they fall into. For today's practice, we are focused on shape simplification, and we have two examples up at the top here, and you can see that one half of the image is just an actual photograph, and the other side is that same face but broken down using the most basic, simplistic form of shape that they can to create the improvised form here. So we are going to go through and match the face that we see on this side, but we're going to use shapes to break it down. So you might start by just like adding in that we've got like a circle here, we've got like the little eye that's coming up. I want you to watch this part first. We've got like the eyebrow, and the eyebrow to me is very triangular. So I'm going to make this kind of a triangle coming down. So I've got a triangle, a circle, and two more smaller triangles. Now I am going to make the little part that goes under his eye come backwards. Now maybe I'll just match the rectangle on the side of his nose, and that kind of comes up and it goes around the eye. Now for his little cheekbone here, maybe I'll come in and sketch that out. So we are just going through and copying this, but using only shapes. So we are not using any value, and we can't draw like any continuous like furry lines. We are breaking this down into the most basic form of shape that we can. So looking up here, we've got this like triangle of black, and then we have kind of like a fuzzier edge. So we can give it like a fuzzier edge, but it does need to still stay in a basic shape. So we're going to come around here. Maybe I'll add the edge here, and then I'll add like the edge of the face of the wolf. Maybe I'll come in and add like the little section for the mouth, and maybe I'll add in like the edge of his face, and I'll go through and start breaking down this shape. So I've got like kind of a darker section that comes out through here, and maybe I would have kind of like that darker value kind of continuing through. Maybe I would break this down so that I can see like the fur is kind of changing in direction here. So I'm just kind of outlining and showing those basic shapes. So you are welcome to go ahead and follow along. You can try it on your own, but we are going to go through and just copy the face using only shapes to create this image. So I'll reach a finished point so that you can kind of see an example of what it is that I am looking for here. Now I'm just adding kind of like those little stripes underneath. Maybe like a little outline of that section in the ear, and maybe I'll give him more specific details in the eye. All right. For today's practice, we are going to be working on using basic shapes to help you draw this giraffe accurately. Now, this can be a follow along, so I would like for you guys to follow along with these instructions. So let's start at step 1. We are going to begin by drawing just kind of an oval over here. Next, I'm going to add a neck, and we want the neck to kind of come out at a slant and get a little bit wider as it works its way down. We've got a triangle up at the top. Now let's add some ears. Those are more triangles. And the little antenna things, I don't know if those are actually antennas. What are those on a giraffe? Who knows? Now let's add the legs, and we've got our front leg coming straight down, and it has a little knee that's a circle, and it gets even skinnier as we work our way down to the ground. And then we've got just a little bit of this leg showing here, and we'll add that little foot coming to the ground. Then we've got our back legs, and this comes straight down from the edge and then slants back. We've got a little knee, and then it gets skinnier as it reaches towards the ground. Then we've got a separate leg, and this one is also coming straight down. So I'm going to draw that coming straight down from the like center of the thigh here. And I'll draw that coming down. The knees should be about level, and then this foot was kind of coming out at an angle a little. Then we've got our tail. All right, now you're going to go through and try to draw in the face and the spots. So let's start with the face. We're gonna add these eyes on either side, just sort of round shapes, and we can add like the nose, nostrils here, and we can start kind of adding more detail to the ears. We can add the tops of the little antenna things, I don't know what to call them, but we can start filling in some of our details too. Now I am going to go through and erase the lines that are dividing my body and legs and neck. Now we want to keep one of these lines. We want to keep the line that goes in front of the leg that's on the side that is farther away from us. So we are going to connect it for the front leg and leave that line for the back leg. We are also erasing our knees. Nobody needs to see those circles. Oh, I'm sorry. Now we are just gonna add like little bumps, essentially. Like they don't have to be fully rounded on this picture. We just kind of wanna show the edge. That's where it's like bent. Now we're gonna come through and we're adding small giraffe spots. And we wanna look at this reference photo to kind of use it to help us make these more realistic. So it's just sort of adding irregular spots. And as we get further down, they do get a little bit larger, like along the back, and then they kind of disappear like on the tummy. So I'm gonna come in and add just like some small ones, and I'm gonna work up from there. And I'm gonna leave some space, and as I work up towards the edge of his back, I am going to increase the size of these spots so that they're bigger. And they do go down a little bit on the thigh, a little bit on this front leg, a little bit on the back leg here. Maybe bring it down just a touch so it's not like so much left over on the tummy. And there is our little giraffe. Now that was our last practice for the shape bell ringer, so thank you for following along. Don't forget to flip this over, and you need to put your name up at the top so that when we come back to create your book from these inserts that you don't have any that are missing. And then once you've done that, you'll fold it in half, and you will keep this nice and safe in your Bellringer folder so that you can have this ready to turn in when we get to that point. Thank you so much for watching.